it's time for Rewind, when we look at the films that opened 10 years ago and 20 years ago, of course, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. So let's go down the list. Celebrating their 10th anniversary of release this week, the Nick Cannon classic, Underclassmen. Oddly enough, to celebrate the opening of Transporter Refueled this week is Transporter 2, opened 10 years ago this week, and the Ralph Fiennes film, The Constant Gardener, opening 20 years ago this week. The film that all of us have seen at least 7 times, the Mark Harmon, Joshua Jackson classic, Magic in the Water. I'm kidding, none of you have seen this film. And, of course, the Christopher Walken, Viggo Mortensen, Virginia Madsen film, The Prophecy, which I do remember opening in theaters. Schnepp, let's start with you. Which of these films stand out to you?
Well, several of them. I love The Prophecy.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that film. It was so much fun. The less said about the sequels of The Prophecy, the better. But The Prophecy itself is a really fun take on the angels fighting the angels, and, we're not done with heaven yet. This whole, Christopher Walken playing Gabriel, just incredibly fun cheeseball horror at its best. The other one that sticks out to me is The Constant Gardener. Fantastic film. Mm-hmm. You want to see a depresso film? Check out The Constant Gardener.
Yeah.
Get depressed, son.
Powerful, though.
Yeah, very powerful. Rachel Weisz is also in it. It's a great film. It's a probably underrated film because it should be talked about more now than before. And then I guess the last one for me was Transporter 2. A lot of fun. I had forgotten about the Transporter 2 because, it's 10 years ago. You're like, all these action films with Jason Statham. Yeah, he's in a car. He's saying some quippy stuff. But then I watched the trailer and I was like, that's right. It's like him with the kid. He's got to watch the kid, and there's that crazy chick who's like shooting at him. And it's like, it's really well done action scenes. And then it made me think back, oh yeah, and he's always having like these little tea time talks with that one French detective that he becomes friends with from the first Transporter. So if you haven't checked out the Transporter 2 or 1, I would highly suggest both of those. They're both directed by Louis Leterrier. Yeah. So those are really, that's what sticks out to me.
Yeah, one of the ones that jumps out to me is like you, Transporter 2. I am reminded about how much of a guilty pleasure the first couple of Transporters movies are. I really enjoyed them. I had fun with them. Where that series has gone now is another issue altogether, but I really did enjoy it. But Magic in the Water is one, it kind of embodies, it was a 1990s film, granted, but it was like, it followed that formula of a 1980s, the kids got to gather together to try to figure out a way to save the community center kind of thing, right? It's about this family goes to this lake and whatever, and they discover there's a mystical creature that lives in the lake, but the mystical creature's life is in danger. Why? Because the evil corporations are dropping toxic waste into the lake. It's going to kill him. Mark Harmon, a young Joshua Jackson. It's so cornball. But honestly, it's one of those films that if you're ever in just kind of a nostalgia mood and you're home, you and your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, their bowl of popcorn, want something just cheeseball that brings you back, maybe check out Magic in the Water when you get a chance. Not a great film, but it will take you back to the era. Anyway, Dennis, what stands out to you?
The only one I saw on that list was The Constant Gardener. And the reason I saw it was because it was the same director and cinematography team as City of God, which is one of my favorite movies. I like The Constant Gardener. I didn't love it. It is very, very depressing. Great performances. It's weird because I love the cinematography so much in City of God. They kind of brought the same style over to this movie, but I'm not sure if it works. Some of that handheld stuff, and they also saturated the colors a lot in it, and it felt more like a dream-like thing when it was much more of a serious movie. So that's what stands out to me.
Hey, Rose?
Definitely The Constant Gardener. Walken's welcome at all times. All times. Favorite man ever. And what was the other one? Underclassmen, obviously. I have no idea. I have no idea. I've
Which
never seen
launched
that
the
film.
career of Nick Cannon's cinematic.
It's a legacy. Constant Gardener is definitely, love is always depressing, so of course they're going to, but Weisz and Fiennes together talk about star power. The chemistry, the intensity, it's definitely a classic. The other ones, I can't say I've seen the Joshua Jackson film, which I feel a little sad admitting. Pacey, I'm sorry I let you down.
You and everybody else. Don't worry about it. don't feel bad about that at all.
Yeah. So
I was going to say Magic in the Water. I was looking at that poster and I was like, was he sitting on a whale? Is that some
Well,
kind of
it's,
weird rock?
Dinosaur.
Loch Ness monster.
No, I know. And then when you mentioned that it was like some kind of Bessie, little baby, and I was like, oh, I know what it looks
Nessie,
like from
Bessie the
seeing
baby.
all those special effects books that I would buy 20 years ago. I was like, I know what that creature looks like. Never saw the movie. Didn't even know with Magic in the Water. What is it about? What a weird 90s
It's the prequel
title.
to M. Night Shyamalan's Lady in the Water.
Right.